Why is compounding so important? Let's talk about it on Kyle Talks Money. Compounding is reinvesting your capital gains along with your principal to produce more capital gains and then reinvesting that portion, repeating the process. Or as Benjamin Franklin put it, money makes money, and the money that makes money makes money. So let's give you 4 examples, people who have different ways of investing their money. Those 4 people are Kira, Yancey, Lars, and Aaron. Each will have different ways of investing their money. Kira, Yancey, and Lars will start investing when they're 25 years old. Aaron decides to start later at 30. Let's set a retirement target date. Each will retire at 70 because that's what people are doing these days, retiring later. Kira will start investing with $10,000, Yancey with $5,000, Lars is a little bit wealthier and puts in $100,000, and Aaron is older and has $200,000 to start with. Kira, Yancey, and Aaron will each contribute $1,000 per month. Lars is cool and will not do that. Okay, so you've got our 4 participants set up. Let's give them something to invest in. Yes, an S&P 500 index ETF like SPY or VOO, which has returned about 10% compounded annually. All set? Before we see who ends up with the most money, comment who you think will retire with more. What happens after 5 years? Kira will have $89,000 of which she invested $70,000. Yancey will have $81,000 of which he invested $65,000. Lars will have $161,000 of which he invested only his initial $100,000. Aaron at age 35 will have $402,000 of which she invested $320,000. After 5 years, it's obvious that Aaron has the most. What happens after 10 years? Kira will have $217,000 with $130,000 invested. Yancey will have $204,000 with $125,000 invested. Lars will have $259,000 with his still initial $100,000 invested. Aaron at age 40 will have $648,000 with $380,000 invested. After 10 years, no surprise, Aaron is still ahead. What happens after 20 years? Kira will have $754,000 with $250,000 invested. Yancey will have $720,000 with $245,000 invested. Lars will have $672,000 with his only $100,000 initial investment. Aaron at age 50 will have $1.6 million with $500,000 invested. After 20 years, Aaron is running away with it. So what happens after 30 years? Kira will have $2.1 million with $370,000 invested. Yancey will have $2 million with $365,000 invested. Lars will have $1.7 million with his initial $100,000. Aaron at age 60 will have $3.4 million with $620,000 invested. After 30 years, Aaron is still ahead, but there's some catching up. What happens after 40 years? Kira will have $5.7 million with $490,000 invested. Yancey will have $5.5 million with $485,000 invested. Lars will have $4.5 million with only $1,000 invested. Aaron retires at age 70 with $9 million with ultimately $740,000 invested. After 40 years, Aaron looked like she's won, but she's also done investing. What happens after 45 years? Kira retires at age 70 with $9.3 million with ultimately $550,000 invested. Yancey also retires at 70 with $8.9 million with $545,000 invested. Lars follows and retires at 70 with $7.2 million. By the time all 4 reach 70, Kira catches up and retires with the most money. And based on the total percentage gain, Kira returned 1,600%, Yancey returned 1,500%, Lars returned 7,000%, and Aaron returned 1,100%. But even though Lars had a much higher overall return, he ended up with the least amount of money in the end. And if you're wondering, if you didn't compound your money at all, but you started with $1 million, you'd have only $4.5 million after 45 years. Worse than our 4 examples. What are your thoughts? Compounding your money well? If you like this video, tap that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Learn more, earn more. And as always, take care of your money.